Okay, so here are some common things that we all know not to do. We know not to play with fire. Don't drink bleach, for instance. Don't talk back to your parents. At least when I was growing up, that was definitely a thing. Don't eat yellow snow. And we did just have a snowstorm in North Georgia. And no, I didn't eat yellow snow. Now, for you married folks, don't ask your spouse where they want to eat because, you may just end up in the car talking about where you want to eat for the next hour. Also, we all know not to trust the cleanliness of a gas station bathroom when you're on a road trip. We've all been there. So all of these obviously are common knowledge, but whenever people decide to list their house, no one tells them what not to do. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video. I'm gonna tell you the 5 things that you should not do when you go to list your house. Hey everybody, my name is Tim Gibson and my channel is all about North Georgia real estate. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're thinking about moving to North Georgia or if you're considering listing your house in North Georgia, please reach out. My contact info is right here on the screen. All right, we're gonna get right into it. What are the top 5 things that you should not do when you list your house? All right, so first and foremost, and really most importantly, is do not list your house too high if you are selling your home in North Georgia or anywhere else for that matter. So whenever I sit down with sellers at listing appointments, the conversation of price does come up because that's the most important part of selling a house. The pricing of a house, the list price of a house is very important, and if you list too high, it could really be a detriment to the sale of your house. And it's really based on the comparable sold properties either in your neighborhood or in the very close geographic area. Typically, whenever we talk about pricing at listing appointments, the most important thing to think about is the facts. What are the facts? What does the data tell us and not what does the emotion tell you? Sometimes sellers, they are tied to their house. They have a lot of memories there. And so they say, hey, well, I've done a little bit of work to the house, so my house is worth X. Sometimes it's based in facts and sometimes it's not. So one thing I like to talk to my sellers about and one thing I like to say to them during the pricing conversation is, unfortunately, the sellers or the real estate agents don't really set the price for the house. The pool of buyers who are looking in your area and in your price range are the ones who set the market. So for example, if sellers or real estate agents set the market or set the prices for the listings, then everybody would sell their houses for over $1 million because everybody's just gonna say, well, this is what it is and I'm gonna sell it for $1 million or more. But what buyers are concerned about, and this is really who we're trying to market to, of course, is to buyers. What we wanna do is think about what buyers are thinking about. Buyers primarily are thinking about substitution. Buyers, whenever they're looking at a house, let's say they wanna be in a certain area like, call it Dawsonville, Georgia. And they want to move to Dawsonville because it's a little less population. Maybe they're moving from somewhere closer to Atlanta. Maybe they want a bigger lot. Maybe they want a little bit more space. They want access to shopping and they want to be close to some things, some amenities or whatever, but they don't want to be right in the middle of the suburbs. And of course, buyers are going to have some sort of budget, whether they're paying cash or whether they're buying a home with a mortgage. What you're trying to do as a seller is provide the best possible option for the buyers that are looking in your area and in the price range that your house sits. So let's say after a market analysis, it looks like your house should be listed at $550,000 based on comparable sold properties in the area. But you as the seller say, you know what, this is my house. I've lived here for a long time. I raised my kids here, whatever. And I think this house, based on just the way I feel, it should be listed at $625,000. So what tends to happen is buyers may see that house and instantly, based on all of the other houses they've been looking at in the area, they say, wow, that's a nice house, but that seems like a lot of money. So what could happen is that you may not get very many showings and you want a lot of showings or you want enough showings to produce an offer. So you may not get enough showings, you may not get any offers, and then your house tends to sit. So when your house sits on the market for an extended period of time because it's overpriced, then buyers tend to go, well, what's wrong with this house? Maybe they won't even state it consciously. Maybe it's just a subconscious thought. They'll be scrolling through every day looking for houses. And then maybe they see yours pop up and they go, that looks like a nice house, but I don't really know what the deal is. Why hasn't it sold? So then people start to ask questions. And then what inevitably happens is that you have to keep dropping the price to find the market. And at that point, buyers think that they may have some more leverage because you keep dropping the price. So they may say, okay, this house has been on the market for, 90, 100 days or whatever. So I bet they'd be willing to take even less than what they just dropped the price to. So as the seller, you start to lose all momentum and all leverage. Now, of course, you can choose to sell your house for whatever you want if you can find a buyer for it. So if someone lowballs you, then of course you don't have to take it. But the likelihood of lowball offers increases dramatically whenever you list your house too high. So alternatively, if you list your house right at where market value sort of shows you that your house should be listed at, what tends to happen is you get more showings, you get more offers, and you get more activity. That produces a lot of great momentum for the sellers. And then sometimes you have more than one offer to choose from, and you sort of sit in the driver's seat a little bit more than whenever you list your house too high and you're dropping your price to find the market. So that's just the basics, and there's a whole lot more that goes into the list price of your house. But I wanted to put that at the very top of things not to do. Do not list your house too high, no matter what, because that is going to be a detriment to you down the road. All right, number 2, what is the second most important thing not to do when you list your house? Do not spend a ton of money on renovations that won't return on your investment. What do I mean by that? So here's a couple things that I think you should not spend money on. Number 1 would be overly unique or customized renovations. That may be great for you if you are a college football fan, or if you have like a very cool style that's very unique and quirky. Some people might not like that. What you're trying to do when you're listing your house is you are trying to appeal to the most amount of buyers. Make sure not to overbuild your neighborhood. If you're doing a kitchen renovation, or if you're doing bathroom renovations, make sure you're not putting in kitchens and bathrooms or other sort of renovations that look like it's a $2 million house when you live in a $500,000 neighborhood, because you will absolutely not return your money on investment on those. Number 3, I feel like this should go without saying, but you would be absolutely shocked at the amount of houses that I have been in the past couple of years that are a complete wreck. So number 3, do not leave your house a wreck. Do not leave it dirty for showings. So why do I say that? I say that because you are trying to put your house in the best possible light for buyers. You want to make it look as good as possible, within reason, of course, so that you can show your house off, and so you can generate an offer from a buyer. Say you're going to a car lot and you see a car that you want to take a look at, maybe you want to buy it, and the dealer has put the car out there. It's completely dirty, it's messy on the inside, they haven't vacuumed. There's fingerprints all over the windows, there's mud and dirt all over the outside of the car, and they want top dollar for it. You might say, well, if it's this dirty and it's hasn't been maintained, even the exterior and interior appearance, what else could be wrong with this? I think the same applies with a house. So in the same way, I think that your house should be staged as best as possible, because think about a buyer. If they walk in the house and they see that it's a total mess, the beds haven't been made and it's just dirty, even if it's a great house, maybe they would reconsider making an offer on the house. It may just turn them off. So keep your house as clean as possible for showings is very important. Okay, number 4, make sure to hire the best real estate agent for you. There's a lot of real estate agents out there, and a lot of great real estate agents out there. There's also some that aren't so great. So a real estate agent's most important job is to market your property for sale and to get it in front of the most amount of buyers possible so that you can sell your house quickly and for the best price. One thing that I see pop up more than you would think is very, very bad photos. What do I mean by bad photos? Usually it is someone that didn't take the time to hire a professional real estate photographer, and they decided to take some pictures with their cell phones. Sometimes it's the owner, sometimes it's a real estate agent, and you can tell immediately that the photos are bad from the first photo. And so what happens is, obviously, first impressions matter. And if you make a bad first impression with rough photos or photos of someone peeking around the corner in a bathroom and they're taking a picture and you can see their reflection in the mirror, what is that going to say to a buyer, especially if house price is, somewhere around $500,000, $600,000. I've seen it on houses that are priced over $1 million. If marketing is the number 1 job of a real estate agent so that you can get the best price for your house, then having professional photos done is absolutely a non-negotiable. Another one, maybe this is just a pet peeve of mine, it's the listing descriptions that are, I don't know, overly boastful or don't really tell you much about the house at all. Maybe the listing description is in all capital letters and it's just a bunch of like written shouting at you as the buyer. In my opinion, a good listing description is sort of a written tour of the house, because sometimes the photos can get a little confusing and you might not know which bedroom is where, if it's upstairs or downstairs. So if you have a listing description that at least sort of gives you an idea of what the house layout is like, where things are located, and maybe some of the upgrades that have been done, I think that's a very important part of the listing description. Last but not least, number 5, don't forget to make minor repairs or major repairs if you have to do major repairs. But sometimes I will walk into houses with buyers and you would be surprised again at the number of, holes in the walls, drywall repair that needs to be done. Or maybe someone started some drywall repair, but they didn't sand it and paint over it. Rooms that need to be painted that are scuffed up, or, maybe carpet that needs to be cleaned, or maybe the house just needs to be cleaned. There's lots of minor things that you can do to, help your house stand out a little bit more. A lot of them don't cost a whole lot of money, and if you don't have time, maybe you pay a handyman to do it, or if you do have time and you can do some of these things, make those little minor cosmetic repairs because they really do make a big difference. All right, so what did you think about this video? If you're a buyer and you've been looking at houses over the past few months or so, tell me some of the things in the comments that you have seen that were surprising to you. You thought, man, I would like this house a little bit more if they did X, Y, or Z. Maybe that would help some of the sellers that are watching. Of course, my number is on the screen if you're thinking about listing your house in North Georgia or if you're thinking about moving to the area. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.